In the early 90s, John Veasey was a man with an unusual occupation. He killed people. Veasey was a hitman in the Philadelphia Mafia and found himself smack in the middle of the bloodiest mob war in the city's history. As is often the case with hitmen, Veasey's career was a short one. When he learned his own crew might want to kill him, he became a government witness, a rat. His testimony helped send 24 wise guys to prison, some for the rest of their lives. And the Philly mob would never be the same. Today, the one-time killer is a free man, living under an assumed name somewhere in America. We've agreed not to divulge exactly where. He's married, has a good job, and says he's found God. But back in his old South Philadelphia neighborhood, not everyone believes John Veasey's story of redemption. They say he's still the same low-life thug he was 20 years ago, when the mob made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
The story will continue in a moment.
In 1993, you were an ex-con, a laborer, and a guy walks up to you and offers you $10,000 to do what?
Kill a guy.
Were you interested?
I just said, yeah, where's the gun?
That casual?
Yeah. He said, take some time to think about it. I said, just take some time to get me the gun and let's get it done.
That's how it was for John Veasey, one bad choice after another. He grew up in the mostly Italian neighborhood of South Philadelphia, home to the city's underworld. He was the youngest of 5. His mother sold crystal meth out of her family's bakery. By his mid-teens, John was a junkie and the father of 2. By his late 20s, he had been arrested more than 60 times. He says he never aspired to join the mob, but the promise of a big payday got his attention.
I mean, you get $10,000 and you never have no money.
They were offering money to take somebody's life.
But my question to that is real simple. How many poor people are being offered $10,000 to kill somebody?
But that's not an economic issue. That's a moral issue.
It's moral if you have morals.
You had no morals.
Correct. None.
In the early 90s, the Philadelphia mob was at war. Blood and body bags routine. On one side was a group of older, Sicilian-born wise guys led by John Stanfa. On the other, younger American mobsters headed by Joey Merlino. For 30 years, George Anastasia covered the mob for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He says a young, streetwise thug like Veasey was the kind of muscle John Stanfa needed.
Stanford was getting an enforcer. Stanford was getting a guy who wasn't afraid to go out there and bust heads. He was getting a guy who would go out and collect money, who would go out and intimidate people, and who would go out and kill people if he was ordered to do so.
John Veasey's first hit was in broad daylight. The targets? Rival mob boss Joey Merlino and his top lieutenant Michael Ciancaglini. Veasey and a partner drove up on the pair, hit the brakes, and opened fire.
Was your heart racing as you were coming down the street?
Well, I didn't really think like that. I was going to work, and part of my work that day was to kill somebody.
Joey Merlino survived the attack, but Michael Ciancaglini was killed. One name off the boss's hit list.
How many names on the list?
25, 35, maybe.
If you see one of the guys on this list on the street, you take him out.
Yeah.
1 month later, Veasey struck again.
The victim, identified as Frank Baldino, was getting into his white Cadillac after having dinner at the popular Melrose Diner in South Philadelphia. Bullet casings all over.
Frank Baldino was a bartender who just about everyone in the neighborhood knew and liked, including John Veasey. But John Stanfa thought Baldino had become too friendly with the other side and wanted him dead.
Put my gun right through the window.
And this was a guy you liked?
Yeah.
If you shoot someone in the head 6 times who you like, what would you do to someone you didn't like?
I shot him 6 times in the head because I was supposed to kill him. I wanted to make sure he was dead.
But amid all the carnage, the hitman says he was volunteering as a Boy Scout leader.
Now there's a positive role model for Boy Scouts, a hitman.
I'll tell you what, the kids didn't know I was a hitman. A lot of parents were mad, but the kids had fun when I took them camping, I can tell you that.
John, do you get how crazy that sounds?
I can tell you I do, but I never really thought about it like that. I mean, I would drive by and I'd have the kids in my station wagon, and then at nighttime I might be in a Cadillac.
Hunting for people you're supposed to kill.
Yeah.
Veasey's star was rising. He was summoned to this Philadelphia hotel to become a made member of the mob. But the sacred ceremony was the last thing on his mind. He wanted the $10,000 he had been promised for his first hit.
I wanted the money. I never got the money.
Why didn't John Stanford pay you?
He said they were saving money for the war, and I said, what are we buying, a Sherman tank? I mean, I'm bringing all this money's come, 100,000, 50,000. Nobody's getting paid.
Those complaints did not sit well with Stanford. A few months later, the mob boss ordered another hit, this time on Veasey. But John had an older brother, Billy, with friends in the mob. When Billy learned John might be in trouble, he pleaded with him to turn himself in, to become a government informant, a rat.
Why do it?
I don't know. I guess it was the right thing to do.
When Billy was talking to you, what was he telling you?
Told me it was the only opportunity, the only way he didn't want to watch me get executed.
Billy Veasey drove John to the U.S. Attorney's Office. FBI agent Paul Hayes, now retired, became John's government handler.
Billy understood the mob. That's why he wanted him to come in and cooperate, because he knew how the mob could turn on you and kill you in a moment. And in fact, I think he was right.
Veasey agreed to wear a wire and collect evidence, but he wasn't wearing it on the night he went to this South Philadelphia apartment with two trusted mob associates. Inside, everything was covered in plastic.
It's not normal to walk in a room with plastic. But I did. I never thought anything.
What did you think was about to happen?
They told me they were painting.
He was shot 4 times with a small caliber pistol, 3 times in the head, once in the chest.
The guy shoots you in the back of the head. There are 2 men, 2 to 1. How'd you manage to get out?
You fight. You do what you grew up doing.
He wrestled a knife from one attacker, stabbed him, and ran from the building. The legend of John Veasey was born.
This is a guy who can't be killed now. You know, you can't bring him down. And it enhances that whole reputation as a tough guy. John Veasey should have been dead that night, and he wasn't.
How do you explain that?
Poor equipment. They should have had a better gun, a bigger gun. I don't know. Maybe it's destiny. Maybe this is supposed to happen.
John Stanford and 23 members of his crew were indicted on charges including murder and racketeering. Veasey's appearance at their trial as a government witness was eagerly anticipated. But on the morning he was to testify, he was approached by FBI agent Paul Hayes.
And I said, John, I have something to tell you. Your brother was murdered in a hit. And John crumbled to the floor.
Billy had been ambushed in his car not far from his home. 5 days later, John took the stand, giving jurors an unvarnished account of life in the mob.
He was a highly effective witness. Very good. One of the best I've ever seen.
What was so good about him?
Well, because he was genuine. This is what we did. I shot this guy, and that guy over there told me to do it.
The defense tried to diminish his testimony. They said, John, we see that you're wearing glasses. Did the government buy you those glasses? And he said, yes, they did. And he said, did the government buy you those glasses to make you more believable and credible in front of this jury? He says, I don't know, but ever since your client shot me in the back of the head, my vision's been slightly off.
All the defendants were found guilty. John Stanford was sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms. Veasey, as part of his plea agreement, was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Plenty of time for dark thoughts of revenge.
You wanted to kill the people who killed your brother.
Them, family, it didn't really matter.
You were going to shoot him, or you going to...
Well, I had plans to, like, inject their wives with AIDS.
What?
Yeah. I was going to bump into with a shopping cart, like have a little needle. They wouldn't even feel it.
That's just evil.
It is evil, but you know what? I was pretty evil, and I ain't going to try to say I wasn't.
This is John Veasey today, just another suburban homeowner trying to stay ahead of the yard work.
I have a great wife, a great family, nice home, good job.
Veasey shares his new life with Norma, his wife of 8 years. They married after John's brief stint in the Witness Protection Program.
Can you even fathom the person that he was, or the things he used to do?
No. No, because I don't know that person. I know my husband, I know who he is, and who I fell in love with, the caring individual. That's who I know.
But John didn't rob ice cream trucks. I mean, he did some bad things.
But if God is willing to forgive, why wouldn't we? I mean, he's human.
As an ex-con, finding work was difficult. But with his wife's encouragement, Veasey talked his way into a job selling cars. Turns out he was a natural. He's earned Salesman of the Year awards and a 6-figure salary.
Do you tell customers about your past now?
Yeah.
You do?
They ask.
What might
Well,
they
some
ask?
people will be like, man, you're like one of them mob guys, you know what I mean? I'm like, believe it or not, I am. You know,
Really?
but I've changed. I've autographed books for some of my customers I asked for.
The book, The Hit Man, written by 2 Philadelphia journalists, details Veasey's criminal past and efforts to turn his life around.
Search for peace.
And on most Sundays, you'll find John Veasey here, a church near his home.
I'm not all there yet, but I got baptized. I'm working on with my pastor. I've been going every week now. I actually drive the bus for him.
You are a church bus driver?
Yeah. Good morning. How you doing, young lady?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right. Like I always say now, I'm not who I want to be. I'm not who I'm going to be, but I'm definitely not the person I used to be.
I don't believe it.
You're not buying that car?
I'm not buying it.
Reporter George Anastasia isn't alone in his skepticism. Many in South Philadelphia don't believe Veasey is capable of changing.
He's found God because it's expedient to find God, because he's somewhere in middle America and it works to find God there. I don't think if he's back on a street corner in South Philly, he's found God. He's looking to avenge what happened to his brother. He's looking to settle scores.
His brother's murder almost 20 years ago has remained an obsession. We learned that on visits to Philadelphia, Veasey has made threats against those he thinks were responsible. Kathy Ciancaglini says she's been a target for years.
It's frightening. It's aggravating. It's intimidating.
Why would John Veasey threaten you?
He believes that my husband has killed his brother.
Her husband, John Ciancaglini, and others were tried in 2001 for the murder of Billy Veasey and found not guilty. But John Veasey maintains Ciancaglini did murder Billy as payback for his first hit when he killed Ciancaglini's brother, Michael. Kathy says Veasey has posted menacing pictures on Facebook and left her voicemails that she saved, like this one from 2011.
I don't give a if I get caught. I will get you, John. How's your wife feel about that? Maybe I'll hit her in the too. You punk.
He's the punk. He threatens me. Calls my husband a punk. He's the punk. He threatens women. That's what he does.
John Veasey lives under an alias, and few in his new community are aware of his past. But over the last 5 years, his name has appeared in at least 4 police reports. In 2008, an argument in a restaurant led to a fight.
I waited for him to take his drink, and I sized him up, and I hit him with a straight, good punch, and the glass went through his face.
Veasey was arrested and pleaded guilty to misdemeanor battery. His victim required 25 stitches and plastic surgery.
Only reason it's big for me because I'm a killer. You think about it, how many of your friends had a barroom fight growing up?
I gotta tell you, in talking to you, sometimes I wonder if you're still just a tough guy or if you're still part of you a bad guy.
That's something you'll have to wonder, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I would say that if that's open for debate.
15 years ago on the morning John Veasey was set to testify against mob boss John Stanfa, 2 mob hitmen stood on the corner across the street in the pouring rain. As Veasey's brother Billy pulled to the corner in his SUV, the gunman opened fire, murdering Billy Veasey. John Veasey got on the witness stand anyway and testified against Stanfa. Now for the first time, he speaks publicly about his brother's murder and the murders he committed.
The families are hurt. I'm sorry.
Former mob hitman John Veasey insists he's sorry for killing Michael Ciancaglini and Frank Baldino during his days in the local mob. Now more than 15 years after those gangland-style murders, he says he's a changed man. The old John Veasey is gone. The new Veasey goes by another name and has another outlook on life.
I couldn't spell Messing Avenue. You know what? I still can't spell it. But I make good money. Nobody's coming to take it from me. I used to have the license plate. The Lord giveth, the feds take it away. You know, life. The Lord gives it, John takes it away. No more. Now I give. And whether that's legit to you people or not, it doesn't matter to me because it's off my back. I go to church and pray for that. So that's off my back. I mean, whatever's going to happen to me, I got to deal with. happens to me on that issue.
Veasey served 12 years in prison for those 2 mob murders. He survived being shot in the head during his street days and being beaten in prison. But no one can forget how he turned on mob boss John Stanfa. He testified against Stanfa, putting the Sicilian mob boss away for life, along with nearly 30 other wise guys.
They're going to shoot me, yet they create me. It's kind of like Terminator. You create this guy, and then after you want to take him out. How'd that work out for him?
Veasey testified despite the fact that the mob murdered his brother Billy the day he was set to take the stand against Stanfa.
Did that ever deter you from getting on a witness stand after that happened?
Well, no. No. I mean, what would be the sense? I mean, not to testify and do what? Do life in prison for people that want to kill me anyway?
Veasey's been a feared man ever since in South Philly. The local wise guys are terrified he might return and seek revenge for his brother's murder. Veasey says, no way.
So as we sit here today, you don't want to do that anymore?
I didn't want to do that since 2005. They avenged it for me. I mean, think about it. They're still there. They're still killing each other. They're still living in a row house.
But Veasey wasn't so convincing a few months back when he started taunting the local mob on Facebook, claiming he might return after some of the wise guys made disparaging remarks to his sister. Veasey even posted his picture shoveling snow during last winter's blizzard, making it look like he was in town to settle a score.
Did you ever think about going back to Philly and settling a score or anything?
So I met my wife. That was my only plan. You know, I thought about it for 12 years. My brain, that's all I thought about for 12 years. Because I still don't know why they killed him.
Veasey says he has no plans to avenge his brother's murder. He's leaving that to a higher authority.
And believe me, I ain't gone home. There's nothing home for me.
Are you all right that nobody's ever been held accountable for your brother's murder?
Yeah, I am. You know why? Heaven, hell, wherever it is, we're all going to go. I'll see them there, and hopefully they'll come wherever we're at.
But Veasey also knows his former running mates in the mob are still afraid of him.
They have a reason to be afraid. I mean, if for some reason, you know, I went back there would only be one reason to go back. And that would be to cause mass destruction. You know, and, but they killed somebody that I loved. And I killed somebody that other people love. So going to church and talking to my wife about it, it's all relevant at the end of the day. We're all here for a purpose. You know, like I believe that there's a better purpose for me here, somehow, some way. I don't know what that is, but I ain't going back to South Philly.
So while the Philly mob may not have to worry about John Veasey exacting revenge for his brother's murder, next week Veasey will talk about the local mob, current mob boss Joe Legambi, and former mob boss Joey Merlino, who's about to get out of jail at the beginning of next year. That's part 3 of John Veasey's story next Monday night at 10 on the Fox 29 News. In South Philadelphia, Dave Stratweiser, Fox 29 News.